Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a review of the re-release of George Lloyd's two late choral masterpieces, a symphonic mass from 1992 and a litany from 1995 to words by John Donne. These are wonderful pieces. And if you like Carmina Burana, Belshazzar's Feast, the big popular choral extravaganzas that seem to get lots of recordings and performances, Rachmaninoff's The Bells, well, then you're going to like these. I mean, there's no way that you're not going to like these. They are beautiful, approachable, wonderful pieces. The cool thing about Lloyd is that he was a composer who really cared about getting performed. He wanted his music to be appreciated and enjoyed by the largest mass of people, and he wanted to write in a way that they would find approachable, but without being condescending, without dumbing down. There's nothing here that's cheap or tawdry or populist for its own sake. It's just good, solid, tuneful, beautifully constructed music by a composer who was a master of writing for the human voice. I mean, that's what he was destined for before, fate took a turn and he became a symphonist. He was originally an opera composer, and he wrote 3 operas, a couple of which were reasonably successful. But at the time, his style was considered regressive, and then World War II happened, and he got injured, and he had to slowly recuperate and be recuperated by writing symphonies, not by going back to opera, which would have been impossible for him in his physical condition, and because by then, Benjamin Britten had popped up and no one cared about Lloyd. It was really a sad story. But at the end of his life, he wrote 3 major choral works. The first was The Vigil of Venus, which was recorded for Argo, and I'm really hoping it's terrific. I'm really hoping that these folks license it from Decca if they can. I don't know if they can or what the situation is with that stuff. And they released that too because it's a beautiful, beautiful work. And then he wrote his symphonic mass, and then a litany came after that. Now, the symphonic mass is a solid hour-long extravaganza for chorus and orchestra, no soloists, which is actually I kind of like. It's choral throughout, and it's symphonic throughout. It's symphonic in the sense that it works on the development of a basic theme, which is introduced in the opening Kyrie, well, actually to the words Christe eleison. That's where you hear the tune. And it's a very simple tune that's capable of lots of development, and it's instantly recognizable whenever it recurs, and it binds the whole work together. And so it's genuinely symphonic in its conception, and it's a wonderful setting of the mass text. No reason that people shouldn't just enjoy it as one of the great choral settings of the mass. Fat chance of that, right? Exactly. Now, a litany is based on the poem of the same name by John Donne. Not all of it, just, the juicy bits. And it's structured as a 4-movement symphony. It's really a symphony. It's 49 minutes long. It's symphonic in length. It has 2 soloists here, Janice Watson and Jeremy White, for whom the composer was writing, specifically, at least Janice Watson, I think both of them actually. And he was very happy with the results he achieved. He felt it suited their voices very well. And it's a beautiful work on a wonderful poem. I mean, it's John Donne, good words, good poetry, and an exciting, really, again, you wonder, there were composers who were of this quality, writing music of this quality for people to simply, enjoy at a normal concert, and gosh, it ought to be performed. It should be performed every 15 minutes. It really should. The performances, by the way, here are absolutely terrific. They're both under the composer. The Vigil of Venus actually was not entirely satisfying. I remember he told me he wasn't completely satisfied with that performance, although it's pretty good, I thought. But, he had issues. He could be a little testy in his old age, by the way. Anyway, it's the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra and the Brighton Festival Chorus for a symphonic mass, and the Guildford Choral Society and the Philharmonia Orchestra in a litany. And wow, I mean, why don't we hear this stuff more often? Well, at least we have recordings, because now there isn't any excuse for people not getting to know it. And for perhaps choral directors or people who have access to the funds to produce these things, having a chance to hear them and realize that they've got potentially seriously real hit on their hands. I mean, choral societies all over the place who do these concerts and are always looking for good repertoire. I mean, it's always hard to find really good choral repertoire that isn't well known. I used to do. I did a review. Let me just tell you a story. I did a review of one of the New York choruses here that has a nice series at Carnegie Hall, and they did Rachmaninoff's The Bells. And I really wanted to see the bells because you don't see it very often, and it's just such a glorious piece. Some consider it Rachmaninoff's orchestral masterpiece, and it's sort of hard to argue with. It's a phenomenal piece of music. I think they did it with Carmina Burana, actually, or something really, really popular that would bring in the audience, because people don't know the bells very well. But anyway, they were doing the bells, and I went, and it was a really nice concert, and I enjoyed it very much. And I wrote it up, I wrote a review, and they were thrilled, and they wanted me to come and review all their other stuff, naturally. And I looked at what they were doing. It was the Mozart Requiem, it was the Verdi Requiem, it was the Brahms Requiem, it was the Requiem. It was all the same old, same old. This one concert had some interesting, different repertoire. And that was the one I was interested in. So I didn't go to any of the other stuff. I just couldn't bring myself to do it because you knew it was going to be same old, same old. Might be very nice, but so what? Who cares? And then, of course, there was the Holiday Messiahs. We need new things that people will enjoy, because people who love choral music buy a series. They're going to go and hear the whole season. They only gave like four concerts a season, I think. So, I mean, you buy a series of 4 concerts or 5 concerts because you love the organization. And yes, let them do their Mozart Requiems. Let them do their Handel Messiahs when it's appropriate. It's all fine. It's all perfectly fine. But do something else. Do something interesting. Do something worthwhile. And this is exactly the kind of thing these organizations should be looking for, because they are second half pieces. I mean, the Mass is an hour, the other's 49 minutes. You do it in the second half of the program. The first half of the program could have something maybe even more popular that people will come and hear. You could design fantastic choral programs around these works. In fact, I may do a few, and fabulous concert programs, because it would be a fabulous, wonderful change of pace for people who enjoy choral programs. Anyway, here they are on Lyrita, conducted by the composer, George Lloyd's Symphonic Mass and a Litany, 2 20th century choral masterpieces that will grace any program or your listening time. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.